Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to Art and Cocktails. I am your host, Kat, artist, founder of Create Magazine, and certified master coach. And today I want to talk to you about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, but also just super important if you are an artist or creative of any sort, and that is maintaining a creative practice. Now, I know this sounds so obvious. You're like, of course, Kat, artists make art, writers write, singers sing, but it's not so simple, is it? How many times have we let go of our practice, and the only time we seem to show up in the studio is if we got a commission or we have a show coming up? But when it comes to our own personal fulfillment and creating the work that really excites us, delights us, and is close to our heart and is an expression of who we are, we often put that on the back burner. And I see this a lot because, as you may know, I am a certified coach, so I work with clients of all levels, of all walks of life, and no matter how advanced or experienced these artists are, I find that the art is the first thing to go when the schedule gets busy or when there's life challenges. And honestly, it is really misfortunate because we as artists have the power to navigate through challenges, to self-heal, to process through our work. And I know that it's a lot easier said than done. And I want to share a little bit about my background and how I got here because it was not a linear journey at all. After college, I was so paranoid that I wasn't going to be making art because I kept hearing my professors say, everyone who graduates from school, only 1% of people end up going into this professionally, and most people abandon their practice altogether. So that little voice was really scary to me. And honestly, it did serve me because I was committed. I said, no matter what, I'm going to make something every day, even if I have a day job. I didn't want one, but I ended up having one for at least 5 years. And so I had so many things in my way, but I made a commitment that at least for 30 minutes a day, I would make something. And this honestly changed my life. At first, it was little sketches in my moleskin. Later on, it was small watercolors or small oil paintings. And this practice, this little moment for myself day to day, it's not like I always have it every single day, right? There's seasons where I'm traveling or I just want to take a break. That's okay. But in general, over the past 15 years, I'm so proud to say that I've maintained this practice. And that's one of my superpowers. And I want to pass it on to you. There's no gatekeeping here. There's no secrets. It's just all about taking the pressure off and building a relationship with your art and inadvertently building a relationship with yourself because our art is an extension of who we are, right? So let's not complicate the creative process. Let's break it down to its simplest most basic things. All you got to do to be an artist is to make something, whether it's pottery, a drawing, a song, a book, or an essay, a short story, a poem, right? That is all it is. And the problem is that we oftentimes put so much pressure on ourselves. We're like, okay, well, this next thing that I make has to be a masterpiece. This next thing I make has to get attention, has to get thousands of likes on Instagram, and so on and so forth. And this actually is such a huge disservice. And in the show notes, I'll share some of my favorite books for overcoming this kind of mindset. And the first thing I want to do is I want to take the pressure off our practice because while we can control certain things in our life, we cannot control how amazing a painting or a sculpture or a drawing is going to turn out. That is out of our control. All we can do is show up. By showing up, we are already entering the possibility that what we create is incredible, right? So the only shortcut, if you will, there's no guarantee that what we make is going to be good. But the only way to be in the game is by showing up and making something. And my favorite strategy for showing up and making something is just dedicating 30 minutes a day. My friend Christy Gordon says 25 minutes a day was her magic number. And I think either one of those options, in fact, even 5 minutes a day, is a great place to start building trust with yourself. When you say, I'm going to show up and sketch for 5 minutes or 25 minutes, you're immediately helping your brain develop trust and more confidence. Not only confidence in your art making, but in yourself, because now your brain sees that you are a person of your word and you do what you said you were going to do, which is so powerful. And this is going to impact other areas of your life, like your business, your relationship, and your career opportunities. So never underestimate the power of consistency and accountability. And consistency is not just because like, oh, you need to check off 7 days a week. That makes you a real artist. That's not the point at all. The point for me has honestly just been to stay in communication with my art, because I find that most of my ideas and revelations and learning what I'm good at, what I like, what I don't like, comes from the process itself. It doesn't come from thinking about it. It doesn't come from looking at it. It doesn't come from journaling about it. It comes from creating and then responding during and after my creation. So I encourage you to find something that's really simple that you enjoy doing. Maybe it's a daily doodle. Maybe it's an intuitive sketch or intuitive sculpture that you don't even have a reference. You just make something straight from your brain. Maybe it is something that you are working on continuously, like a big painting that you chip away at for 30 minutes a day. It's completely up to you. Everyone has a different style and different method and different preference. But the most important thing is to keep it really simple. So maybe have a toolkit ready to go. For me, I always have my sketchbook and a small pack of travel brushes and a pencil, along with some napkins. And I'll take it to the park, or I'll sketch a still life here at home. I will sometimes set up my little travel easel even in the house and just paint something that I see in front of me. And the reason why I do that isn't necessarily because I think it's the most amazing thing to paint mundane objects, but I enjoy painting. And the less thinking sometimes I have to do in order to create what I want to create, the better. So of course, there's going to be times where I'm planning an exhibition and my paintings have maybe reference images or compositions that are more interesting than just seeing a cup in front of me. But painting daily, especially for me from observation, for you it might be from your mind or abstraction, whatever it is. For me, finding a simple way to create without overthinking has been absolutely instrumental in making sure that I'm not saying things like, oh, it's going to take me too long to create. Oh, I'm too tired. It's going to take too long to set up. Having a grab and go kit is really helpful. That way you're not stopping yourself from doing something that you truly love. So having this consistent practice, I encourage you to find a time that works for you. Maybe it's before work in the morning, which is typically what I do, or after work, or in the middle of your lunch break. Find a time to do something for you. And I'm not even going to get into all the mental health benefits that this is going to give you. It's going to give you more presence, more peace. It's going to give you more ideas for artwork. And by committing to something small every day, you're opening yourself up to so many possibilities. So do it. The next thing I want to say is to take the pressure off. A lot of the things we're going to create are going to be ugly and bad. And that is just a fact. It still happens to me. Not every page in my sketchbook is beautiful. Some of it's just kind of whatever or even gross. But I know that I can't get to that next beautiful painting unless I show up and make the ugly one sometimes. So taking the pressure off, and even in the studio, because a lot of times when I'm getting ready for a show, I end up making so much more work than I need. And then I end up picking my favorite pieces. And truly, we really can't fail as artists. We can recycle the materials, paint over a canvas, crumble up the clay if it didn't work out. There's really no failure. There's only trying things and putting yourself out there and truly just falling in love with the process, right? Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life getting really stressed. And this actually happened a few times when I had exhibitions and I was working with galleries. Sometimes the pressure of the event or the solo show gets so overwhelming that it sucks the joy out of creating. So I think there's definitely a place for professional development, exhibition preparation, commissions. That's very professional client-based work. And then there's things that you make for yourself, a safe space to experiment, to play, to try something new, to expand. So many times I see artists being so worried about not being consistent that they place themselves in a box. And I'm actually guilty of this too, because when I first started working with different galleries, I was so worried that if I changed something from the way that I paint, at the time it was like really pink interiors, which I still love, but I don't want to do that for the rest of my life, right? I was so worried that what I was creating wasn't going to be well received. So I forced myself to keep making similar things. So don't fall into this trap. If you have to make a certain type of work for a gallery, that's fine. But make sure you're also giving yourself the freedom and play to explore something unique and different. The third tip that I have is accountability. Maybe you have a friend that you text and check in about your progress, or maybe you're part of a community. I have the Art Queens membership, AQ Society, and maybe you just have a circle locally that you meet up with and you do something together. Whatever it is that you choose to do, having accountability can really make sure that you do show up for yourself. And it could just be a calendar reminder. You don't have to tell anyone about your habit. And the other thing that I want to share with you guys is that so many times people come to me and they're like, I want to be a successful artist. I want to show my work. I want to sell my work, but they're actually not making the work. And that's a big problem because in order for us to be professional artists, we need work, right? So I want to encourage you that even if you're beginning, don't stop dreaming. Don't stop setting ambitious goals to work with galleries, museums, and amazing clients. That's not the point. The point is that you're going to need to fall in love with your practice so that you can create for years to come, for shows, for yourself, for your clients. And so this has to be the foundation. This has to be the base of everything that we do. And so I encourage you to find something that you love, to take the pressure off, to notice how magical it is to be an artist, and to truly believe in the fact that your art is a superpower. Creating something out of nothing, creating a mark on a piece of paper, sculpting a piece of mud into a beautiful mug or vase or sculpture is an amazing gift, and do not take it for granted. So do what you got to do to start to fall in love with it. Start to show up for yourself. Be in awe of the creative process. Romanticize it. Put on your favorite candle. Make a playlist. Do what you got to do to get in the state of being the most incredible artist, because you already are. You just got to start seeing it, and you have to block out the noise. You got to block out the laundry, the dishes, the to-do list, the email you didn't reply to. Your creative time is sacred. So join me in honoring this first, and I promise you, once you do, this is an experiment I'm running in my life. Abundance comes, clients come, sales come, because people can sense your energy and they can sense the love that you put into what you do. And selling is basically becomes irrelevant because you just show up and you share what you love so much and all the positive energy you've put into it, and people want to be a part of it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gives you some inspiration and tips. I want to invite you to join my painting program, Painting Expressive Interiors. It's a self-study course with 6 modules, and I'm going to be adding more bonuses and extra videos to it as we go on. And I want to invite you to join me and learn about my painting process, which is super simple, super straightforward. You can replicate it by painting interiors like I teach you. You can also paint still lifes and even nature. So you can check out the show notes for the link, and I look forward to painting together. Cheers to prioritizing your art, falling in love with your creative practice, and fully owning the fact that your art is a superpower. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon.